Welcome back to the weekly challenge in under 7 minutes, except this week. Well, I don't think we're going to get it done in 7 minutes because, man, I ran into some weird races this week. I should know what to say. Starting with this one, the Silvia sisters. Yeah, this one, a bit odd. So the suggested PP 500. So I'm like, cool, I'll just grab a PP 500 car. I'll just, go enjoy myself out on the track against my fellow competitors, driven by artificial intelligence, and just go ahead and take the victory and show y'all how it's done, except for one small problem. You notice the white car just kind of flying up behind me on the right-hand side? Well, I wasn't coming close to catching anyone on this one, so finished in 7th place. Seventh. I think the PP system's a little broke since the physics changed. So I went and grabbed the old blue there, decided to put a little bit of a tune on it, grabbed a computer, threw it on there, looked around a little bit. I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and do an intercooler too. Just trying to do a mild tune, nothing crazy. So did some camshafts, because, when I'm doing mild engine tuning, I always throw a camshaft on there. And then, of course, we got to put some sport brakes on there. A little lightning there. Threw a little carbon fiber on the rig and tossed on a sports muffler. Why not? And then put some street suspension on there, like some Evil Bay struts there. And then did another little weight reduction and threw on the old sports clutch and flywheel, let that engine whiz up. And then while we're doing some minor changes, went ahead and did a little bore up, put me at 593.12. The reason I needed 593.12 because I tried 576 before that, and cars were just leaving me in the dust on the straights. So needed a little more horsepower there on the straightaways here at Tsukuba. Now, lap 1 sent it down the inside on the AI there. Now, you got to be bold here at Tsukuba. There's no time to be diddle-dallying around. You got to make your passes and move on down the road, because if you don't do it, you're not going to finish in first unless, of course, you completely just monster tune your car and just absolutely destroy everyone. So on here, lap 1 down in the hairpin on the backside of Tsukuba towards the long straight. Another good dive there by Grady. Look at Grady, full send on everyone. I mean, man almighty, Lando Norris would be proud of those kinds of sends into the corner. Then again, now that I think about it, so would Max Verstappen. So would all the F1 drivers. Those guys even care. I mean, it's not their money, right? So what do they care? That's what I'm thinking. These are at least my credits on my car. All right, lap 2, catch up to P1. Finally feel like I'm making up some ground on these cars at Tsukuba. Like I said, gave this a couple tries, just trying to make a good race of it. And this was pretty decent at this level here, getting to a close to 600 tune. Felt like it was a little bit more of a fun race. Enjoyed the final pass there on P1 and his Silvia Spec R Aero S15. Put him in the rear view mirror. Hit the gas pedal, waved goodbye. Finished, of course, in first place. Finally figured out this race. Had to be 100 pp over the suggested pp, which is a little bit unusual. Now, on to race number 2, which I thought, okay, the last race was off by 100 pp, so surely this one is as well. So I'm going to not fall for that trick 2 times in a row. So I just went ahead and grabbed this Road Group 3 Atenza. I was like, I don't know that I've driven this in quite a while, like since GT7, Gran Turismo Sport. So I said, I'll go ahead and see how this one does here. It's, about 100 above the PP rating, and I can tell right away that this isn't going to be a challenge at all. This race, I probably should have stuck with something closer to a 450 PP car, but by now I'd spent so much time in the last race, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to see how badly I can beat these guys in this Atenza. And yeah, it was pretty much a slaughter. It was about what I expected. So yeah, don't choose the Atenza if you're looking for a good race. If you've got one in your garage, you just want to knock this one out, well, pretty darn easy. I think I finished like 12 seconds out in front. So, hey, Atenza. Challenge number 2, give it a try. Now for challenge number 3 is the special event. Yes, the Porsche 356 at Goodwood. Now we're going to throw on a little tuning on this car as well. We're going to go with the sports suspension here because the suspension is a little quirky on this car. Going to go with some high compression pistons. I don't want to tune up my fancy old vehicle too much there. So I threw in a camshaft, a little bore up. So, some old school kind of tuning. And then we're going to toss on, again, the sports brake kit. Don't want to get carried away with the crazy carbon fiber brakes. And, of course, some sports brake pads, some Brembos to go along with those new brakes. And then we threw on a cold air intake on our old rig. And I didn't do any tuning with the suspension. Little sports suspension seemed to be good enough for the race. And I went and tossed on a different livery. This livery wasn't era correct. So put on a fresh new dope Golf livery, set it on the track at Goodwood. Now, opening it up, you can almost hold it full throttle with the sports suspension around corner one. Got loose on me, but I was luckily able to gather it up. Be very careful into this corner. Brake early, brake light. Make sure your car is pointed straight, and then as it slows down enough, then turn in. If you try to turn in and brake, the rear end is going to come around on you. All that weight, all that motor in the back end is going to want to plant itself in your lap and then turn your car going the opposite direction. It's all about the weight transfer here. When you feel that front end sink, do not turn the wheel, or it will turn very sharply, and the back end will come around. So don't do that. Brake lightly, and then when you feel the weight kind of come up off of the front end, then you can start your turning, because if you do it before that, well, the tires are just going to grip up, and you're not going to have a good time. Look, a little bit of counter steering there, broke early there, as you saw, early and light, just trying to keep the car level. Try not to just plant all that weight on the nose of the car. That's what's going to cause you problems. If you do mash the brake pedal, make sure you're braking in a straight line, and know that when you lift off that brake pedal, she is going to come around. So just be prepared to counter steer. I'm telling you right now, this car is not that easy to drive. I don't know if it's the new physics or not. I don't know what it is. I remember driving this car before. I thought I remember enjoying it, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It's been a while, I'm pretty sure. But get into first place here on lap 5. But check it out. He comes back at old Gretty. Oh, my goodness. Look at the Hearst powers of that Porsche. My goodness, what kind of tune he's got on there. But old Gretty was up to the challenge. Sent it down the inside hard. I was having none of it, folks. I was going to show him who was the top dog here at Goodwood, and it was old Gretty. Boy, I tell you what, it felt good to put this Porsche onto the top of the podium in its rightful place. P1, baby. There you go. So, a little bit of tuning for you if you want to try what I did here. This was a little harder to control, the way that I had the car set up. You have to be very careful on the brakes and when you decide to turn in. So I went back and I made a couple more adjustments. I grabbed a fully tunable suspension, and I tried to tune out some of the weird quirks with this back end wanting to come around on you. So what you want to do here is drop the rear and the front. The rear more than the front is going to lower your center of gravity, and it's going to cause the car to push more. So it's going to be harder for that rear end to swing out. It's going to be lower than the front end. Also, increase the stiffness of your front anti-roll bar and decrease the stiffness of your rear anti-roll bar. Again, that's going to cause the car to push, and it's going to make it harder for the rear end to swing out on you. It's going to be a little mushy in the back, but it'll be harder for it to swing out. Then for the dampening compression, you want the front end to be very difficult to compress because you don't want the weight to transfer back to the front end. You want it to stay on the back end, so make your rear end compression a little lighter. Make the front end compression stiffer so the weight doesn't go to the front end. Then the opposite for the rear. You want the front end to expand, leaving the weight on the rear, and you don't want the rear to expand, sending the weight back to the front. So that's how you want to set that up there. I also put the springs stiffer in the front, looser in the rear. In other words, squishier in the rear. It's gonna keep the rear end from coming around on you. I know it doesn't sound like it should do that, but that's very typical of setup. And then for camber, I left the front at 3 and I moved the rear to 3.5, so that when you're going around those corners, that rear end wouldn't want to swing out on you as much. And then I adjusted the rear toe in all the way to 0.70, which seems insane, but it holds the car really straight under braking. Why? I'm not really sure. Maybe it's the suspension unloads, those tires, square up with the road and keep going straight. I'm just guessing. Maybe it has an early independent rear suspension or something. I have no idea. I'm not sure, but it definitely works. When you brake hard, it'll stay in a straight line. So as you can see here, I was able to catch the car fairly easy right there. Not a whole lot of just whipping the wheel around trying to catch the car. I think you'll notice that you're able to catch the car a little bit easier when it starts to slide out on you. Also, you'll notice right up here when we're going to hit the braking point, I'm going to brake, and it's going to brake in a relatively stable straight, hitting the brakes there. Like the car is not jumping around all over the place. I have to make some minor steering input adjustments, but nothing too bad. Also very stable going around through this section of the track. Near the end of the track, the car tended to get a little bit unstable as well. You see, even though it was sliding, I was still able to control the car pretty well. Here in corner one, carrying a ton of speed, gets sideways, just whip the wheel to the left, gathers it right back up, sends it back down a straight line, able to catch the car without any drama there. Catch up to P1 here at the end of lap 2, so was able to really carry a lot more corner speed with this suspension tune. So hopefully this works for you. Hopefully it helps you out, and if it does, then outstanding. If it doesn't, apologies. I tried my hardest there for you. So on to challenge number 4. All right, challenge number 4, the Neoclassic competition at Big Willow. This 10-lapper I'm very familiar with. I've done 3 videos on the Neoclassic challenge. You are either going to need the old F1 MP44, you're going to need one of the old Group C style Group 1 cars, or you're going to need the Tsukuba Pikes Peak version car to win this race. The tuned street cars, as good as they are, they just can't win Big Willow because either you run out of tire or you run out of fuel. So here's what I did with my Group 1 car. I put on the racing medium tires that will be able to go the entire race. You'll easily have enough fuel to go with the race. I had to adjust my output a little bit to get it down below that 800 mark. So you can see I adjusted it there. You can do the same. You can see my front and rear downforce. Didn't change anything else with the car. You're going to have plenty of grip, plenty of fuel to win the race. Just be patient. Don't worry about P1. He's going to pit. You're going to go on by him. It's going to be fine. So I went with the Porsche 962C because, well, I've already got a grading livery on it. I've raced all the Group 1 cars here at Big Willow. You can win in all of the Group 1 cars that qualify for this race, as well as the Tsukuba, as well as that McLaren MP44 that will also win the race here relatively easily. There may be a couple of the other cars, like the McLaren F1, that can win here. Check my video on the best cars for the Neoclassic Challenge. I'll put a link below in the description. And I should have all the lap times kind of set up, which one that can do it and which ones cannot. So it'll be in there. Hopefully you've got a car that can do this. If not, I mean, the only thing really in the Legends dealership right now is the GT500 car, the Pennzoil GT500 car. I don't remember if that one can win it or not. If it can, it's probably pretty tight on the margins. You have to really drive this track well. Not sure. These cars are super easy because the Group 1's corner so quickly, and they're so good on fuel. Don't have to worry about stopping for fuel. And I mean, they're a Group 1 car. I mean, what else can I say? So, don't worry about catching P1 or anything. Just keep driving good laps. Get good lap times. Don't drive. You don't have to overdrive the car, because P1 is eventually going to pit. You're going to be fine. You're going to take the lead. So here on lap 2, I'm 17 seconds and losing a little bit of time to P1. So let's move forward a little bit, and I'll show you what I mean. So here we are on lap 6. I'm still 14, 15 seconds behind P1, as he must have gotten to a kerfuffle with V Gallo up front or something. I was as far back as 22 seconds back. But again, he is going to pit. It's going to be fine. Again, let's fast forward a few more laps. And here we are on lap number 8. You can see V Gallo heading in the pit along with Martin Grady. And look at there. We're already in P2, only 2.5 seconds off the leader with about 2 laps to go. Plenty of time to catch the leader. You don't even really need to catch him, because guess what? He's actually going to pit. So it's not going to be a problem at all. V Gallo's about 4 seconds behind me and losing time, putting him in the rear view. Let's look at this at the end of lap number 10 and see how old Gretty's looking. All right, lap number 10, you may have noticed an addition to the dashboard. That would be my fuel light, but I still have 1.2 laps to go, and I barely have any lap left to finish the race. So great, good on fuel. Finish in front of V Gallo by 7.5 seconds. Plenty of time to spare. Do you a no stopper on racing mediums? If you have the car, you'll be able to win this race, no problem. You can try it on softs. A little tougher to get to the end on softs, but it is possible. The final challenge of the week is the World Rally Challenge at Edgar, Nordwand. And I got to tell you, this is not one of my favorite races. It's a 14 fuel, 7 tire race. You can run any of the hard, medium, soft, whatever you want. But with the lack of tuning that you can do to these Group B cars, the only car I found that can really challenge in this race is the Acura NSX Group B car. So I did a quick tune on this. I'm going to show it to you here, and then hopefully it'll help you get this race done if you're struggling with it. I also threw some NOS on there to see what kind of differential I could get. I only won by 1/10, and the leader ran out of fuel last time I did this. So let's look at my tune real quick here. Nothing spectacular in a nutshell. I just stiffened it up, added a little more camber to the tires. Maybe could even add a little bit more. And I lowered the car, stiffened up the anti-roll bars. This is a road track with a lot of tight corners. So I just tried to get the car a little bit tighter. It just felt squishy and springy, and it was just too loose on the road. So I tried to tighten it up. You could probably even tighten it up more than this if you're struggling with it. So, like I said, if this isn't working for you, try and make it even stiffer springs, maybe even a little more roll bar. Give it a shot. All right, as far as the race goes, 1585, bias towards the rear. You got to save the front tires. Front tires will wear out too fast. Also brake bias 5 to the rear. I've got a 10 shot of NOS. I just want enough NOS or nitrous if you prefer, to keep up with the cars on the track, get overtakes done, because these cars are tuned really well with that the AI is driving, and they are a booger to catch and get on by. I'm telling you right now. I was finding that I was overdriving the car because there is such a gap between you and P1 with these 12 laps, and you're not catching quickly. Now, maybe I'm just a horrible Group B race car driver. It could be. I don't know. I was struggling to catch up to P1. And I tried a no stop on the hards, and boy, I tell you what, I just couldn't get the fuel to go the length and still be able to catch the cars enough. So the medium to soft strategy seemed to be the one that worked the best for me. You could even do a medium maybe if you stopped at the halfway point. You might be able to do a soft. Boy, I tell you what, those soft tires really wear out after lap 4, so it'll be a struggle bus for you on that final lap on those soft tires. So the medium to soft seemed to work. That's my suggestion. I'll go ahead and forward to where I am right before I head into the pits. Here we are on lap 8. I am going into the pits, going to throw on some fresh softs. I need some fuel. As you can see, the car's getting a little bit more slippery on me there as I was coming around through there. So again, hitting that racing soft. Gonna fuel up just past the diamond. I am short shifting. I'm not wringing it out. I saved a little bit of fuel. I didn't really see the need. These straightaways are so short that you can get away with short shifting here, saving the fuel, and then making up a little bit of time in the pit stop. So when we come out of the pit stops, I am in P7. I was previously in P3. About 22 seconds off of the leader. Pit stops about 16 seconds or so. So not feeling too terribly bad about where I am right now. If they go into the pit right now, I'm only about 7 seconds off of the leader. So just need to keep my head down, keep pounding in the laps on these racing soft tires, get by the folks in front of me. Lap 9, you see they are going to the pits finally, and then they come out about 5.5 seconds in front of me. So all I got to do is reel them in on these last 3 laps. Catch up to P1 on lap number 11. Punch the last little bit of NOS that I have to get on by. Nitrous, baby. Yeah. So get on by using the final little bit of nitrous that I had there, and then finish the race in first place with a nice 5.5 second gap. Not huge, but 5.5 seconds, something you might be able to work with. Only other suggestion I have is maybe medium to medium. The softs didn't really seem to do that much better for me than the mediums did. So just a suggestion. Hope these videos helped. I know it was longer than usual. We had some tuning and some other stuff in there that I wasn't used to seeing. If you did, please hit the like and or subscribe. Come back, check out some more. For myself, Go Gritty. Y'all have a great evening.